What's up, going? What's
Hey,
up, Eric? Look at this. We're matching. This is great.
we
It's
didn't
five
even talk
o'clock.
about it.
It's 5 o'clock, baby. Guess what? It's time for section 128. Eric and I have a great show for you guys. But first, breaking news. We've basically heard that Eustáquio may be out or will be out for tomorrow's game. We'll talk about it as usual. We'd start with something really special to us, something that really gets us excited, and it's not going to be any difference. Eric, we'll see you on the other side of our friends from Fugazi. All right, Eric. As I'm here basically prepping the show, I get information that basically is breaking news. We're not in the business of breaking news, but I did get information that as of this morning, Stephen Eustáquio will be out of the game. The team is already in Costa Rica and is about to actually take the field to practice. So very interesting dynamics. The team probably definitely traveled today as we saw it. But man, what about the team now not having Eustáquio? So let's just go directly to you. Good to see you, of course, but let's go directly to you and break this up. Eustáquio not going to basically suit up for the third consecutive game for LAFC.
Yeah, man. This is really concerning because his injuries seem to come from colliding with Drew Fisher. And it's
Yep.
it's a tough pill to swallow with a player getting injured and losing 3 games now because of running into a referee or a referee running into him where he's going. It's a referee's job to make sure this happens. And Drew Fisher is usually a pretty solid official. So pretty bad luck, or pretty bad malfeasance by an official that was in early season form as well. Huge blow to LAFC in a big game coming up.
Bro, yeah, that is tough. We break down what happened this weekend with San Luis visiting. A lot of people concerned with Son Heung-min and his role. But Denis Bouanga missed a sitter. We'll talk about that. But the first, just break it down here for me. What did you saw? What did you see this weekend? We'll start there. Let's just kind of stay meta for a minute and just realize that LAFC is just again like 4-0 in MLS play, and Marc Dos Santos just racking up wins.
Yeah, LAFC looks pretty solid so far. The team is getting it done. Some of these wins have kind of been ugly wins now that we're kind of starting to see this team. We're 6 games in. The Pookie Gomez rule, don't start judging till you're 10 games in. But we are over halfway there at this point. So we have seen a team break off win after win after win. A concerning draw against a very underpowered Alajuelense side. And we're going to have to make amends for that tomorrow one way or another, or it will be a catastrophe. But all in all, happy with Marc Dos Santos' lead and the way he's driving the team. A lot of good, solid defensive work, a lot of good tactical positionings. Some of his possession wrinkles that he's added to it has been great. The only things we really haven't seen yet is Bouanga and Son going off like they did last season. So, I have optimism that they'll get that figured out, but they need to get that figured out. In the meantime, we've had goals from a lot of other players and other players stepping up, and it's gotten us through what we need to do.
So let's just break down this San Luis game real quick. A win against the bottom of the West. They're dealing with a lot, of course, with Lowen, and his family and what they're going through. And he's a captain and leader of this team. And you could tell that, there's just the mood is just not right. And Marc Dos Santos actually had a really nice gesture after the game. But your overall kind of just thoughts on the 2-0 win at home Saturday night. Again, fourth largest average record attendance for all of MLS, whether the stands look full or not. But, talk to me about this game and how you're feeling after what you saw.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were pretty excited to see a 4-2-3-1 formation come in. is something I think a lot of us have been calling for, even in previous seasons, and something we haven't seen too much. So it was nice to see Choinière and Delgado in the midfield, and then with Son ahead of them in kind of that center forward role, Ordaz as a striker. Then we had Bouanga and Martinez. It was some interesting things to try. It did feel like the first half, St. Louis had much better chances to score. They would have had that goal in the set piece, which, to me is a pretty soft penalty. I think if I saw LAFC score a goal like that, I would be pretty outraged. So, end of the day, I'm happy we got a call that went our way, but I think that was kind of I hate to admit it, but that was definitely a rough call for St. Louis. So we kind of got a gift of that game. So regardless, of all that, St. Louis kept being a little more threatening, kept knocking on the door. Hugo has some pretty good saves, and we just weren't able to generate too much. Bouanga had trouble dribbling through. Mostly dealt with like Edelman and Orozco. Hartel kind of backed him up on that. Ordaz got up front, a little sloppy at times. We're hoping to see Nate the Great really, really start to give us a reason to watch him see more minutes. He's definitely a player we saw falling off on minutes. And Son was kind of, I don't want to say a ghost in that game because he drew a lot of attention from the opposing defense, freeing up other people.
Which Bouanga missed the sitter. So that would have been an easy assist, and Bouanga just went off the crossbar. So, but yeah, I see it. And we'll talk more about the frustration, right, that people are starting to feel with Sonny not scoring. Whereas, like, I'm seeing his corners are not even reaching the middle of the box. His free kicks are not as accurate as they were last year. So I'm seeing both sides of the scoring, and we'll break it down here as we go back to. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right, but go ahead.
One of the things at least we can look at nice is we can look at where the goals and the assists are coming from this season. In regular play, Bouanga has 1 goal, 1 assist. In 5 games, this is just not enough. Son in regular season play, 0 goals, 2 assists. Leading the team in goals is Martinez and Choinière, who did it in 1 game. Delgado, Eustáquio, and Ordaz rounded out with 1 goal apiece. On the assists, Son and Eustáquio lead with 2 each. So we see how important Eustáquio has already been. Segura, Bouanga, Delgado, Tillman, and Palencia all with 1 assist each. So we can see it's really spread out. The positive thing to take away about this is we are not Bouanga FC. We are not Son FC. This is a team game, attacking like a team. And since we have our big threatening pieces are not doing it, we've had the supporting cast do enough to keep racking up these victories. So this is really the big thing to take away.
3 points. We're second in the supporters, bro. That's pretty good, and we know how important it is in terms of seeding and in terms of MLS and playoffs and hosting games. And that is really what it's all about. So you have to keep an eye on your seeding, whether you like that trophy or not. You don't want to be 8th on that thing because otherwise you never see a home game in the playoffs. And that's where all the advantages. We need BMO Stadium, right, which is this fortress for us. We play so well there to be a factor in the playoffs. We can't go to Vancouver. We're going to get smashed, right? Like it happened already, and they're looking impossible, right? And we'll talk about the strength of schedule for LAFC, which I think that's the one concern I see. We never played anybody, and we're struggling with Alajuelense, right, which is also a concern. But look, man, everything happens for a reason. Eustáquio, I'm not gonna lie. Like at this point, I'm like, sorry, I'm not sure if I can do this long term anymore. And I'm glad it's a loan, right? Because now he's he's out, and we don't know how long he's gonna be. And we're in the meat of this competition. And here comes Choinière and saves our ass once again. 2 bombs, right, from outside, kind of same style of play, same style of shot, I would say. But what do you see from that, man? Like the fact that we're scoring so many goals from outside the box. And the fact that now Choinière did the up the pole, like massive celebration with the 32-52.
Yeah, no, that was good. It reminded me of that celebration. Actually, reminded me of a player who's sitting on St. Louis named.
I know that's exactly what I felt. He just needed a sombrero, baby,
thrown up there, and he would have been good. Damn. But yeah, it's look, it's great that we have this in our midfield, but it's becoming pretty obvious that we really need midfielders who can contribute in the attack and who can put the long shots into the net. And that's kind of Eustáquio and Choinière right now. It would be interesting to see how both of those were together. But since Eustáquio was injured, we're not going to see that for a while. And so it'll be Tillman or Delgado, not the strongest outside the box shooters. But on the bright side, hopefully we'll have Martinez playing, and he can add to that because he also has a pretty good outside the box shot.
Hey, by the way, shout out to Henry. I did look at over section 128, and I believe your seats were taken, Eric, and maybe 3 other groups of seats for that game. So, awesome, Harry, and awesome that you did this. It's not a knock at all, but obviously for a midweek game, that particular side of the field was looking a bit emptier, right? But I'm glad that you had fun, Henry. We look to do more giveaways, more different things. For example, earlier on, I was thinking, now that we're talking about giveaways, I was thinking about giving out this autographed Davi Martinez sports card that I got. And if you have a kid and you show up with this thing, you're going to be a hero. So even if you're not into these, this one has a true signature from Davi, and it's a numbered card, which makes it a little bit more valuable, right? So if this guy ever becomes someone, it's going to be worth more. So we may give this away, but we need something back, right? We need more follow. We need more people to follow or something. So
am I allowed to enter this contest? I like that card.
Of course you're allowed to enter this contest. All you would have to do in this case is put his jersey number on our comments and be a follower. All right. So if you do this now and I run the contest and you're here and you want it, I will take you in consideration no matter what. So I probably will decide this by the end of this episode. And the fact that you like the card, Eric, makes me even more convinced that I should do this for our show and for you too.
I like that. For you. I have my signed Opoku card.
Oh shit! See, I have. Okay, so we don't want to turn into a trading card, but I do want to have give an incentive out to the people that do comment and are here and follow us, because it does help a lot. And I would love to see more people find our show. All right, back to our original programming here. We talk Choinière. The guy has a brace on the game. He seems ready to dial up. And, man, I'm happy that we have some depth there, because if we didn't have him, it was now time to start the Jude Terry experiment or someone, right? We would have to shift things around and make our midfield maybe feature a young prospect. I'm not sure it's the time to do it, in the middle of a CCL run, right? But we get the 3 points. Let's move on to Sonny, right? Which is really always what people want to talk about. He's playing the 10. And that's a position that we knew, right, he was about to play, because we asked Mark and he said that, hey, Sonny can play the 10, just saying. And that he is. The one difference I saw, and I brought this up pregame, dude, one up top, right? I think Nate the Great was the only player up top in this last game. So talk to me about Sonny's role. Elaborate on what you were going on, talked about earlier, right? And why are people not happy with what they're seeing, even though this guy's basically assisting every game?
Yeah. And there's a couple camps on this. There, as with anything, when Son comes, you have a lot of the Korean fans, and also with the World Cup coming, they're looking at a good showing in the World Cup with the Korean squad, of which Son plays a very direct, attacking member of the team. He kind of plays like a 9 and a 10 at once in that team. He's a big facilitator. So seeing him kind of drop into a role has led to a lot of frustration. We see that he's not putting in the goals. And on top of that, for the people who are looking for the Korean team in the World Cup, they're looking at this saying, how is this helping our case when we get there? They'd love to see Son kind of doing that as well. But for us, we are black and gold. We are LAFC fans. We have been fans long before Son, and we'll be fans long after Son. So, one of the things
it's a pill you were going to have to swallow.
That came out 2 days ago from the Chosun Daily. LAFC coach prioritizes team over Son amid goal drought. And it talks about how Marc Dos Santos emphasizes collective success despite Son Heung-min's 1 goal in 6 matches this season. And they're counting the Champions Cup, which against Real Espana, I almost don't even want to count those goals. I don't think they count for the Golden Boot race, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they don't.
But that's it, and it says in the article, I like this one. Some experts have criticized Santos' attacking tactics, arguing they completely nullify Son Heung-min's strengths. They point out Son Heung-min is repeatedly forced to drop deep to receive the ball and create chances himself.
Well, that's true, because he's a shot creator, and we need him or Denis Bouanga to create our chances. So that's not untrue, and everybody knows that. So they're defending well against it, planting everybody against the box, which that's why it makes sense that we're scoring from outside the box, right? Now, the question that I have and the limitation that I've seen with this team more than anything, Eric, and I sit where Palencia assists on the right back position, and he does not have the ability to go 1v1 against anyone. And the problem is we need someone to create that disadvantage after a 1v1. It doesn't have to be the fullback, okay, but who is it going to be? Because the only guys that could dribble right now are Denis Bouanga and Son Heung-min. I don't see good dribbling from David Martinez 1v1. I don't see good dribbling from Nathan Ordaz 1v1. I just don't see who it is. So who it is, tell me. Who can do 1v1?
Baudry.
Baudry, thank you.
Ragdolls defenders like nothing.
Yep. You've seen that. But you also saw in this game, right, the sitter assist that he should have given to Denis on the right, and he takes a shot, a good shot, not a great shot, but a good shot, and misses a goal, right? An easy decision. Any player would have assisted Denis Bouanga a sure shot on a goal, and we would have all praised him. Wow, look at him. He cleared one guy 1v1 and generated a goal for us. Instead, he took a shitty shot.
With all due respect to our beloved MLS league, this is why he's in MLS league and not moving somewhere else from Allsvenskan league. I'll go back to what Marc Dos Santos said in an interview about a week and a half ago talking about David Martinez that said, hey, we picked this kid up when he was 17. I think in Baudry's case, he's 19 or maybe 20. And they said, hey,
young blood.
He's coming in here. He's a very raw talent. He's here because he needs to develop experience. And I think with Baudry, it's the same thing. He's here to develop experience. And I think if you go 6 months down the line and he starts realizing his role is also more to set up other players than go for that glory himself. I'm not sure about his team in Sweden, but I have a feeling that he was one of the more talented guys and really was relied on to put the goals in. Well, now you have Denis Bouanga on you, and Son wasn't open to pass it to, but you have this guy to lay it off who can put it in. And so I think as he grows and matures and develops, he's going to start making those better decisions, because I think the mentality and the IQ is one of the big things that the youngsters coming in this need to develop.
So, bro, let's talk about Denis Bouanga, which he is the anchor of the attack. Once Bouanga gets going, everything gets easier. Of course, Sonny is going to have more space if they're concerned with Denis, and if Denis can get the ball in the back of the net early on to open up the other team, right? So going into this Costa Rica game and just looking back and what he's done so far, not a lot. Some, I'm not saying nothing because that's be unfair to Denis, but not a ton from him, right? That we've seen, especially in MLS, especially after all that whole thing, gets a brand new contract and now misses a sitter on the last game. So what do you think of Denis so far in the light of everything that's happened on the preseason, right? And we had massive expectations. The guy gets the bag, but now starts to kind of just look not ready, right? What did you see? Am I being too harsh on him?
No. I mean, you're fair to be harsh, and I think something because it's fun to revisit previous things. And I said this last year a lot about Bouanga, and this is before Son came. Is that Bouanga can be a bit of a streaky goal scorer at times. He'll have extended droughts, and then he'll have extended games where he puts in braces and just racks them up. And I think this is going to be more the case. And as we see right now, Bouanga is kind of in a slump right now. He's missing shots that he normally puts in. Even shots that might get saved, he's missing the target instead of forcing a corner a lot of the time. So Bouanga's just a little bit off. His dribbling is still pretty good. He's just double teamed a lot. And more players need to come in and start taking that pressure off him. And that really comes into who's going to beat guys 1v1. And it's Son right now. It's Bouanga right now. And, Son gets through on the give and goes. If he can work with Bouanga, great. But Bouanga does need to step up. If he can step up and get a goal or two tomorrow, we're going to fly right through it. If Bouanga does not score a goal tomorrow, I think we could, we're going to live.
I'm just walking around.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, I think he has to score tomorrow. We're going to break this game down. Stay with us. Please don't leave. Well, we're going to break this game down. And I feel like we can only get away with this midfield scoring from the top of the box shit from so long. I'm glad we got so many points out of it. But most of them have been against the bottom of MLS. And again, there has not been a team, like a top team that we've played since the beginning of the season. And that to me is the concern. So again, is the schedule soft? Are these attacking numbers concerning, given, again, the fact that we played San Luis, bottom feeder? We played a mid-tier team in Dallas, which gave us a really hard time, right? And even though Peter Musa's really good and we nullified him, we still couldn't get past him. And then we had the game in Houston, which was a good win, given that we've never won there. And the big opener, which we all expected to win because it was a big party in a big fucking stadium. So am I overreacting, or are people overreacting? Because I'm not, but I think people are overreacting about the lack of offensive production despite the results.
If you get clean sheets, you only need 1 goal a game to win. And that's, at the end of the day, that's
people are upset about it, which is crazy.
I can't speak to other people getting upset. At the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points. It doesn't matter how you get it. And, you know, I'm the self-professed ugly win aficionado. So I absolutely love ugly wins.
You are.
So I don't care. I don't care how we get it, but we get the 3 points. And we look at our record right now, and it is what it is. I will say also, looking at these opponents, the one thing that all of these opponents we've struggled to have in common is that they're very physical teams. Okay. Miami, not a very physical team. We dog walked them. You know, Dallas, physical team, struggled. Alajuelense, very physical team, struggled.
Big guys. They were
Houston,
big, dude.
Not a physical team. They play a little bit of Jogo Bonito. We did not struggle. So, you know,
we kind of pushed them around, it felt. Like I felt like we were pushing these guys around. And a lot of these games, including the Alajuelense game, which I attended, I was like, whoa. Why are they the ones kind of pushing us around? I was very confused and concerned about that. You're absolutely right about that. There's just something there that I see the people's concern. A lot of ticky-tack passing. We had a tweet, and I'll ask you real quick, where the heat zone, we had the heat zones of 3 players, and they were all crowding Bouanga, right? Like that left forward quadrant that Bouanga operates. And I'm looking around like, well, this guy doesn't have any space to operate himself. And Buju didn't know where he was going. You know what I mean? Like, so what do you think of that? What do you think of that game? Because we didn't really have a chance to break it down, right? Too much. And how it all worked out, and how much of this left side we were trying to take.
Yeah, I agree. It got a little clogged up, and that's kind of the whole thing with Bouanga having to be on the left wing, is that he needs to get the ball with some space and some room to make a move or two to get things going. And when you bunch guys up there, it doesn't really work. Baudry, I think we've all seen when he starts getting centrally, much like Martinez, things start working a lot better for him. You know, when he's trapped down in the left, his left foot cross is all right, but it's when he gets right kind of up to the left edge of the box and move inside, that's where he really starts picking up. So
I like that comment from Henry where he says, hey, he needs to kind of pick up some defenders, body them around Sonny, right? Kind of like act as decoy, kind of be smart. Look to this guy as the one that's going to win you the game and help him win the game for you. That's where I don't see. Everybody say, well, everybody's contributing. No, everybody's shooting from outside the box, and everybody's basically being said, hey, you want to be a fullback to the I don't know, you want to play out of position, go up, go try to do something, right? You know, we want to be creative, but I feel like that's kind of hurting the defense, the positional structure that we had under Geronimo. Again, four games, maybe I'm judging it too much, but it seems like it's maybe a little bit too of a crazy professor idea, right? We're going to play super fluid. Nobody has a set position. You know, Porteous, go up. You're going to be the center mid right now. I feel like it was a little too chaotic at times, and that's from Marc Dos Santos' system in a way. But that's just my opinion, Bart. Let's move on.
Yeah, I like it.
Right?
I like it. I like Henry's idea on that too. I mean, if not Baudry, maybe Tillman, but you know, as somebody that grew up playing hockey, I love somebody playing in an enforcer role. You know, they want to double up Son, then get another body in there to kind of run some picks for him and really push the defenders around. If they want to get into that, make them get into that. I like that. And definitely, if you know, it's interesting food for thought. What if that heat map was centered around Son, who plays a lot of really good give and go passes, and they can break out of that. That might be where that heat map should be centered with the other guys. Give Denis his space out wide and let our dribblers have space to dribble.
And if you look at Sonny's heat map, it was like he was trying to get there. He ended up drifting left, and most of his contribution was also on the left side, right? So, I know that we have to have Sonny and Denis play next to each other, but at the same time, he cannot be that close, and there has to be a connector between the two of them so that they are a little bit more open without the shots, right? So maybe, hey, Boudry, just keep going, bro, and then in the last minute, just pass it to these guys. They'll do the rest. But they need better positioning to either create better dribbles against 1v1 situations or have better finishing when they're basically inside of the box. So far, everything that I've seen from inside of the box has been really weak, and most of it has been from outside of the box, and that's been a big problem. Alajuelense, the team's in Costa Rica once again. We broke the news a little bit, not really breaking news, but we did talk about the fact that Stephen Eustáquio will not be playing tomorrow given his leg injury, his third game already that he's missing. Really a tough time. The moment I say I'm getting this man's jersey, he gets injured and he doesn't look good. But let's break this down. If LAFC gets out of there with a 0-0 tie, Alajuelense wins this series. So it's on us to attack. And of course, they're going to be probably twice as physical as they were here at BMO. So first thoughts on this game. How are you feeling? You think it's going to be easy? We both thought it was going to be crazy games, right? 6 goals for LAFC or some shit like that. Was this a fluke at home and we just basically take care of business within the first 45 minutes?
I wouldn't call it a fluke at home. I think, and if you look at how teams want to play us, you're going to want to play us physically. And as I said, the one common denominator is physical teams, which Alajuelense is. They're an opportunistic team. And, and that's one thing the announcers talked about the whole game was how they came through the Central American Cup. And they were a team that kind of just hung around and, they would do a lot of bunkering and they would get just a few chances per game and they would put one away. And that's kind of their bread and butter. So we are going into this game down a goal. Absolutely. We're going to have to push immediately from this game to get this goal. Once we get a goal, we're up, but we will need to beat them by 1 goal at least. So
1 goal, the very least. And again, if it's a 2-2 tie, then the advantage kind of goes to LAFC. So
yes,
yeah, getting scored 1 goal at home is not terrible, but it does add a little bit to the drama that if you didn't do anything and if we get out of there with a 0-0 tie, first off, we got out of there with a 0-0 tie. We don't deserve to go forward. But it is a little bit of a chip in confidence level for these guys, right? And again, they're not small dudes. They're a very organized team. They're not doing as well in the league as we brought it up earlier. What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like? Our LAFC supporters are going to show up and get the treatment. What are you expecting of this game in just terms of nerves and spirit and everything that goes around the game, right?
I think it'll be a pretty decently attended LAFC match. Shout out to Keaton and the other 42 OGs who I know have been in Costa Rica for a couple days now.
That's awesome.
Enjoying the sights. Their IG feeds are pretty fun follows of watching their adventures down there. But I think we're going to be there. We took over a whole section last time we were there. I'm not sure if we're going to quite pull that one off again, but they could. I mean, this is an important game. I think bigger is just that we get through this. I think getting knocked out of the CCC to Alajuelense will be a catastrophe, and it'll be a big blemish on MDS's coaching, even though from the looks of the game, it's a bit more on the players than it is on the coach. We saw kind of a bunch of chances.
Never on the players more than on the coach, Eric. You know that. Come on.
Yeah, I know. That's what I say. But yeah, I think getting the starting lineup and the tactics is going to be pretty critical to this game.
Yes. So we'll do that. We'll do that, of course. And I think my prediction of this game is nerves, right? And their supporters are extremely loud and proud, especially on social media. So again, I'm not saying follow me, but if you do, I posted anything I posted about these guys. I had like 6 comments, right? And the Porteous PK, which I thought was at least worthy of a review. And maybe you didn't upheld it, right? But I was like, let's take a look at this thing and award simulation card, something, right? But they were like, this is bullshit. You guys are going to lose. And we're going to bring it. And they simulated every play after the game. So I expect a very contested game unless LAFC finds the net earlier, right? Earlier in the game, which would then open things up for the game for us particularly. And then we can bag another one and get out of there fast. I don't know if we have another game right away, and but I know we have Cruz Azul, I think. So it's not gonna be easy. So we might as well get rid of these guys as soon as we can, instead of being like a really tough match. All right. So Harry asked for it, so I'm gonna give it to Eric to give his starting 11 here. I don't know if we're gonna see a lot of surprises, right? But please, Eric, give me your starting 11 here. From where do you think Marc Dos Santos is gonna go? Given that the offense has been struggling a little bit.
Well, let me start out. I'll go with our starting 11 the last time we played, which was Lloris in the back, Palencia, Porteous, Tafari, Hollingshead, Choinière, Delgado, Tillman in the right wing position, Baudry behind Son, Bouanga, and Son up front. I think we will have a little bit of deviation from this game. I think we should have some deviation from this game. I think we'll go Lloris in the goal again. That's a no-brainer. Palencia, Porteous, Tafari, and Segura instead of Hollingshead, I believe. I think Choinière should start this game as well. Although since he played 90, I think we're going to go Tillman Delgado on this one, and then Martinez is going to be up front, and Choinière also as the mid. Let me put him in there.
Yeah, because Eustáquio will be out, right?
So and then Bouanga is Son. So our mid's going to be Tillman, Delgado, Choinière.
100%. And up front, you put Martinez with Sonny up top, and then Denis Bouanga on the left.
Martinez, Sonny, and Bouanga, and I think they're going to be playing more like a three-man line up top. I think we're going to be playing a little higher up. I could see instead of Segura them going with Artem Smolyakov. He hasn't gotten a ton of minutes, but I also think Alajuelense is going to park the bus. They gave us almost 75% possession last time we played them. And, putting a guy who's a little better attacking than defending could make sense. Although at the same time, they don't want to lose a goal on a counterattack quick and all of a sudden be down 2. So I think that'll be a tricky. I see in the comments, Baudry by 06327.
This one, boy.
Oh,
this is breaking news for Craig here. Craig bringing this up to us that Porteous is not going to be on the team that's going to the World Cup. Massive blow for the player. He's been playing excellent for LAFC. Again, I don't know what kind of depth you have, Craig. I just hope you're going to that game in Miami because I'm going to be there and we're going to hug. We're going to get out, baby. It's going to be fun. But look, man, of course it's going to be there. Duh. But look, no, bro. Like, it's tough on the player, and I hope we don't see a quality like the guy's just bummed, right? And just like let him go, like go right by him. I'm like, fuck, bro. Like, get your head in the game. I know you didn't get the nod, but like, get your fucking head in the game. We're in Costa Rica now, and like, I don't know, man.
I think Baudry will be the first guy off the bench.
Well, Baudry definitely has been gaining more and more minutes in the rotation, and it makes a lot of sense for him to play this game. He shouldn't start the game because it's going to be a tense atmosphere. You don't want a guy saying something to Baudry in another language, and the guy throws an elbow, right? He seems just kind of – he's got something, right? So those guys are better off the bench when the game has sort of been established and there's already a narrative to it. You don't want the guys to be the narrative. You let the most experienced 11 that you have, barring that they're not having any health issues, right? And you let them fucking decide it, which, again, LAFC has more money, more caliber, a great, in my opinion, a better coaching staff because, again, we have a very deep team with a lot of credentials from a lot of different places, right? Alajuelense is limited in what they can do in terms of resources. So I expect LAFC to throttle these guys and really show us that the Tuesday game that I watched in person was a complete fucking fluke. Because what I saw was these guys, these big dudes, manning this around. And like, I was like, wait a minute, wait, this is not right. These guys are not that good. LAFC is the much bigger squad, right? My starting 11 is basically the same as yours, so I will not pick it apart in any way. I do have some serious concerns with Sergio Palencia if we do need to have him attacking and crossing. He's just very inefficient at that. And at that point, I would love to see a switch from someone. If we're not going to cross the ball, put Ryan Hollison in there because he's an extra attacking body, and let the kid from Ukraine, shoot some crosses in. So my first off the bench would be a Smoliakov to get those fullbacks to work. Again, and maybe take Eddie Segura, steady Eddie, a CB, and let Smoliakov just distribute some crosses into the box. I think if we put enough crosses into the box, a goal from that will come and it can open things up for us. I have not seen any cross from LAFC. I'm ranting, I know. I have not seen any crossing from LAFC, and I think that's our biggest issue. No one in this fucking team knows how to cross. Sorry, I'm cursing. I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, except Smoliakov. He's put some great.
He's the only one, and this is why he's my first off the bench. Put him on this game. If the game's not going our way, it's 0-0 at half. I would like to see 2 substitutions. Boudry comes in, you pull Delgado out because we need an extra attacker, and we just put Choinière as the 6, right? If Choinière is not doing well, pull Choinière, keep Delgado as the 6. Something like this, and then go all out, and then Nate the Great would come in the last 30 minutes, maybe a Jude Terry at the end there. But, again, we have to have these substitutions dialed in. That's where my felt Mark has been sort of subpar so far.
No, definitely by halftime, if it's 0-0 or, heaven forbid, we're down a goal, they absolutely will need to pull a guy off the back line and put an attacker there. Even moving Tillman to the right back position, I think, is something that could work out also.
But, look, I do expect us to concede at least once. So my score, I'll go first on this one. LAFC gets through, but it's tight. 2-1. We're sweating out of our crazy chairs. We're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Hugo Lloris has some heroics. We have some luck at the end and we move on. And we look at this game as a lesson for this team as we move through this tournament. Not thinking it's going to be 4 or 5-0. Maybe next week I'm going to be like, oh my God, what was I thinking? But I do believe the tightness of this game continues. We get a goal early, but nothing happens. They may find a goal at some point. Maybe we're up to nothing or not, but I do believe this game is very close. Eric.
I think we're going to open a Captain Insano can of whoop ass on them.
I love it.
I think we're looking at a 3-0 win here, just like we had last time. And the traveling 32-52 get escorted out of the stadium at the 80-minute mark again to avoid any sort of altercations after the game.
Oh, shit. I hope they get the escort. And again, I hope there's a whole system in conjunction with the club to help the fans have a safe and fun experiment. This is what it's all about, guys. This is how experiences and diehard fans are created. It's through these trips. It's through these 3-day heydays that you live through, or maybe 2 days, how long you're there, right? Costa Rica's not that far. So I am so happy to see people traveling and see people on the stands for a continental game. That is what it's all about. You don't get that. You don't really get that a lot, and it's very, very cool. So we're both in that we're going to get through here, and Cruz Azul is going to be the big game, and we have to find someone in Liga MX to talk about this game if it happens, but let's not do that because that's bad juju. That's bad juju. Look, man, great show so far. Typically we would end, but just in case we don't have a midweek game, because I have a pretty nasty week, but let's just talk a little bit about this weekend game at Austin, and if we can get Hernan to come and do a quick show with us on the midweek, we will too. But we now have, again, another sort of mediocre team on the road. And I know it's really hard to predict this game because it's all based on the outcome of this game tomorrow, right? But let's assume LAFC goes through no matter when or how, right? We have to play this weekend. I don't believe we have a CONCACAF game next week. It always stops one, I believe. But let me ask you this. Who would you rest for that game, right? Assuming we go through. Do you go full strength? Assuming we don't have a game next week, and I don't believe we do. And what's the feel for the weekend game after a big win? Again, it's too hypothetical to even do it, right? It's kind of hard. This is why I don't like to break games down after games and stuff.
Yeah, and maybe you can look up to see when the next CONCACAF Champions Cup game is going to be, if it's going to be the next week.
I don't think so, because they always kind of give time, but
yeah, and I will add that I am traveling to Austin, and I will be at this game this weekend.
Oh yeah, so
with my man Jay, who just popped into the chat. He'll be flying out here. We'll be driving down there, sampling some barbecue, and stopping at Buc-ee's on the way back for sure. Can't go there without stopping at Buc-ee's.
Of course you are.
So I do think that we're gonna have a pretty normal starting lineup into this game. One thing that we did hear is that the team flew to Costa Rica where they're training today. They're training, I believe, as we speak right now. And LAFC will be starting a press conference in about 20 minutes that we'll probably check out after this and post some updates on that. Mm-hmm. And then after this game, LAFC is flying directly back to Austin. They're not going home until after the Austin game. So just with that in case, I think that will give them a little better recovery time. It's a shorter flight, and I think we can probably see pretty close to a full-strength lineup when we do play 100%. Austin.
It will be. And, good update here, and thank you for I did look it up. The quarterfinals will be on April 7th to the 9th. So, we'll have like 2-3 week break. So this is the grind time. This week and the last week has been really the crux of this intersection of these two competitions, and you see some of the teams struggling to keep up in both of them. Vancouver just got smashed out of CONCACAF. I don't think they can get back after what happened to them at home against Seattle. Now they have to go to Tacoma to play in the Tacoma field against the Seattle team, a place that they don't play often, right? Look, it's not easy with these rosters limitations that we have to keep up the two competitions. So at times, and I said that comment, and it's a question to you. Was it a mistake? Would it be a mistake, right? Would we call it a mistake that we just put all of our starters 3 days before a massive game if we fall flat in Costa Rica 3 days later with the same guys?
There'll be a lot of criticism, I think, and with me right away when that game was done, I wanted to see a pretty heavily rotated squad because
me too.
Champions Cup is the must-win tournament. And I also believe that looking at our roster with the injuries we have and the guys we picked up in the offseason is that we really went all in leveraging the amount of GAM we had and the amount of assets we had to put together a team to compete at this tournament in this window. We're sitting on 250,000 GAM, which is like nothing. The bank accounts.
We have nothing.
There's no picking up any more
Daniel
players.
So
if we were looking, if we weren't pushing at it, we wouldn't have picked up some guys. We would have just rolled with some backups. We'd be playing the kids more into these roles, but we didn't. So that being the case, this is a must-win game, and hopefully the gambit of playing the starters for a lot of them for half of the game last weekend isn't going to rely on fatigue or sore legs in this game. Forgive me, I didn't look and see who Alajuelense played with their game in the week, but I would bet you that they probably were resting some guys for this one because this is a huge game for them.
As they should. And we'll see that. We'll see who wins. We'll be watching, of course, and hopefully we could have a midweek show just to kind of break it down, talk a little bit more about the Austin game. I agree. I mean, now at this point, no matter the outcome, you go full strength. You put your best 11 against Austin. Austin's been struggling this season as well. Facundo Torres is not the same guy. Palmeiras ruined another one, man. Good job. Way to go.
Well, I don't know what they saw in him as a player at Orlando either, honestly.
Well, he was scoring bangers left and right out of Orlando, and then he goes over there, and now he just does not look right. And hopefully we can get Hernan to talk a bit about what they've done and in Austin and some of their struggles. But we got to get out of here, man.
We should get to see Ilie Sanchez there at Austin as well.
Whatever.
And Christian Ramirez, former LAFC.
I'm definitely over him. So, but good for you. No, I'm excited that you are going. I cannot make it, but I actually this is a stadium that I would love to go visit because it looks beautiful. The place is great, and it's not too far from you, so you can make it. So I'm glad that you have the ability to go there and represent LAFC, buddy. But We'll do a quick, just because you're gonna be there, I'll tell you this. I think full strength. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. We go full strength, and we'll see the first time that LAFC doesn't carry 3 points. A little bit too much partying and a little bit off the, eye off the ball, and the game doesn't go our way. So I don't want to be pessimistic yet this season. So I'll call it a 1-1 draw. And again, maybe we can break this down a little bit more later this week, especially after the Alajuelense game. What do you think about this weekend game that you're going to go to?
Well, if we don't have a chance to have another show this week about it, I'm going to say this is going to be a 2-1 LAFC victory, and one of the Austin players is going to end up getting a red card.
Didn't they get a red card this week? I thought, boy.
No, that was actually the week before against their game. The week before they got a red card.
All right, okay, buddy. Well,
against Charlotte, and that was an early one too, I believe. Yeah, Biro got one pretty early.
Guillermo Biro Brasileiro. By the way, the US shirt looks dope. The Brazil shirt looks dope for the World Cup. So.
Canada looks pretty sweet too, honestly.
Which one?
The Canada with the black.
Canada one looks pretty cool too, right? So we're starting to get some Cup fever here just with these jerseys, man. I'm excited for what's coming here, and a lot of good football to come. And let's hope LAFC does not shit the bed here.
I'm still gonna bitch when our players leave for international call up instead of playing at the club.
Of course you are, as you should. That's what we do. I mean, I know it's weird. I don't know how many players Palmeiras usually takes to the international game, but that's the one thing about being in the Brazil league. You don't really have to worry about that. They took one Flamengo guy. That was it. That was the other guy. It was just
but Celso, they lose Gustavo Gomez to Paraguay. They lose players. They'd lose Richard Rios to Ecuador. They lose players still.
Right.
He's
and
not on Brazil.
Paulo has a lot of guys like that too. So
other than Weverton, they used to lose to Brazil, but not anymore.
Very true. Very true. Now we lose Carlos Coronel. Now Carlos Coronel has been playing for São Paulo, but oh come on, Craig, we're gonna be doing a lot of good time, a lot of partying, bro. Like you get ready, my man, and whatever you need from LA, we're your people. We're gonna be there. Maybe a couple of the Brazilian guys. Be nice to them, even though they were the ones breaking the Denis transfer. Just don't.
If you're gonna try to hang drinking with the Scots, man, you're gonna have yourself a time.
I'm gonna lose, but I can try. It's been a good show. Thanks everybody from the chat. And by the way, we're gonna make it official. I'm gonna give this out, and next week we're gonna announce the winner. And all you have to do, if you want to be in this competition, first off, you have to be in the United States. I ain't fucking shipping your shit international, having some guy pick it up in customs, and we'll never see this thing again. That's what'll happen if you ship shit to Brazil. But if you are in the US and you like David Martinez, put his jersey on the comments here. This means you watched, and it means you're a subscriber, and we'll ship this to you, and we announce the winner on our next show. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eric, as usual, for doing this with me. Don't do this to me, but do it with me. It's been good. It's been good, buddy. We'll see you soon.
We'll talk soon.